It's Sunday night again, and that familiar knot of anxiety is twisting in my stomach. Just the thought of walking into that office, of watching my boss take credit for my work one more time, feels suffocating. I felt completely trapped, and the stress was starting to get physical. But this Sunday was different. This was the night I stopped just trying to survive and started planning my escape. For 2 years, my life was stuck on a loop of dread. I worked at a mid-sized marketing firm, and on paper, it looked like a great job. But inside, the culture was a slow-acting poison. The whole place just ran on this constant, low-grade negativity that made you feel like you could never let your guard down. My boss, Mark, was a master of the subtle art of stealing ideas. I'd pour weeks of my life into a project, craft a strategy I was proud of, only to watch him present my slides in a leadership meeting as if he'd come up with it all on the spot. I wasn't just uncredited, I was invisible. The office ran on a currency of gossip. Whispers followed you down the hall, and alliances shifted daily. You just couldn't trust anyone. It was a blame-heavy culture where a mistake was a learning opportunity. It was a chance for someone to throw you under the bus. You could feel the lack of trust. People communicated in blunt, almost contemptuous messages, and rarely smiled. Morale was in the gutter, and the fact that people were always quitting was just treated as normal. In my first year, I watched 3 talented colleagues burn out and leave, their spirits crushed long before they handed in their notice. And all that stress, it started showing up physically. I had trouble sleeping, often waking up with my mind racing about work. I'd feel sick on the drive-in, a gut reaction to the anxiety waiting for me. My passion was gone, replaced by a burnout so deep it left me feeling fragile and exhausted. I was crying before work, feeling trapped because I needed the paycheck, but desperate to get away from the daily dose of stress and rejection. I had started to internalize it all, believing the problem was me. If I were just tougher, it wouldn't affect me. I was so wrong. The problem wasn't me. It was the toxic culture my managers and coworkers had built. The breaking point wasn't some dramatic blow-up. It was quiet. Mark was presenting the quarterly campaign to our biggest client, and there on the screen, I saw it. My entire 40-page deck, complete with a unique analytics model I had built during sleepless nights. He hadn't changed a single slide. He presented it perfectly, and when the client started clapping, he just smiled and took a bow. In that moment, watching him soak up the credit for my work, I didn't feel anger. I felt nothing. I had been completely erased. I went back to my desk, and instead of feeling defeated, this strange sense of clarity washed over me. I finally got it. I had zero power to change this place. Hoping it would get better was just a fantasy. My experience was real. It was valid, and it was time to stop putting up with it. That night, I went home and opened a blank document on my laptop. I typed a single title: The Escape Plan. For the first time in months, I felt a flicker of hope. I wasn't a victim anymore. I was a strategist. My secret plan wasn't about revenge. It was about getting my life and career back. It happened in 3 deliberate steps, a covert operation to find my way out. And if you're feeling stuck like I was, this is your framework. The first and most important step was all internal. I had to stop seeing myself as trapped. Toxic workplaces thrive on making you feel powerless. So, I started by acknowledging the trauma. I wrote down every time my credit was stolen, every backhanded comment, every moment I felt small. I didn't do this to dwell on it, but to prove to myself that I wasn't making it up. Then, I created what I called a never again list. On it, I wrote down everything I would never tolerate in a job again. A boss who steals credit, a culture of gossip, a place with no room to grow. That list became my compass, reminding me what I was fighting for. This mental shift was everything. I wasn't just running away from a bad job. I was running toward a healthier future. It gave me the energy to get to the next phase. With my head in the right place, it was time for action, and it had to be done discreetly. My lunch breaks, which I used to spend eating at my desk with a knot in my stomach, became my strategy sessions. I'd leave the office for a walk, using the time to clear my head and plan my next move. Just creating that physical boundary was a small way to reclaim a piece of my day. My real work started after hours. I polished my resume, but with a new sense of purpose. For every idea Mark had stolen, I had the original file, the early drafts, the data. I built a private portfolio that showcased my accomplishments in concrete detail. I started reconnecting with old colleagues and contacts on LinkedIn, not desperately asking for a job, but just catching up and putting out feelers. I also focused on building a support system outside of work. I confided in a couple of trusted friends who reminded me of my worth when that imposter syndrome crept in. Their support was a lifeline against the daily toxicity. To survive the process, I had to protect my mental health. I started a simple routine, a 20-minute walk right after work, to decompress and physically separate myself from that building. I kept my interactions with the most toxic people polite but brief, refusing to get pulled into the drama. These were small acts of self-preservation that kept me focused on the goal, the graceful exit, resigning with professionalism. After 3 months of my secret planning, I got a job offer. It was from a company I'd researched like crazy, one whose values lined up perfectly with my never again list. The temptation to quit in a blaze of glory was huge. I had daydreams of forwarding the email chain of my original project to the whole company right after Mark S. Nick's big presentation. But I didn't. As satisfying as that would have been, burning bridges can follow you. How you leave is often what people remember. So, I planned a graceful, professional exit. I wrote a simple resignation letter, gave my 2 weeks' notice, and scheduled a private meeting with Mark. I kept the conversation short and professional and refused to get pulled into an emotional debate. When he asked why I was leaving, I didn't list all his faults. I just said I'd found an opportunity that was a better long-term fit for my career goals. I was focused on the future I was building, not the past I was escaping. During my last 2 weeks, premeditated my work, documented my projects for a smooth handover. And on my last day, I walked out of that building not with anger, but with an incredible sense of peace. The change was almost immediate. The constant stress that had been my shadow for years just disappeared. My blood pressure, which my doctor had been concerned about, was totally normal a month after I left. The Sunday night anxiety vanished, replaced by a quiet excitement for the week ahead. My new job was everything the old one wasn't. My ideas were heard. My manager was a true mentor who trusted my abilities. When I contributed to a big win, I was given public credit for it. It felt weird at first, like a shelter dog learning to trust a kind hand. For months, I had to unlearn the habits of fear and insecurity. I had to consciously stop myself from over-explaining every little thing, from automatically expecting blame when something went wrong. Slowly but surely, I found myself again. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was thriving. I was sleeping better, my health improved, and most importantly, I felt seen and valued. The joy I had for my career, the joy I thought was gone for good, came rushing back. If my story hits home for you, please know you are not alone, and you are not imagining how bad it is. Realizing you're in a toxic job makes you feel powerless, but deciding to leave is an act of profound strength and self-respect. You deserve to work in a place that builds you up, not one that slowly tears you down. Your mental and physical health are worth more than any job title. Your own escape plan starts with one small step. Maybe for you, that's updating your resume tonight. Maybe it's writing your own never again list. Or maybe it's just letting yourself acknowledge that your feelings are valid. Have you ever been in a situation like this? Share your story or your biggest workplace red flag in the comments below. Your experience could be the sign that someone else needs to see. And if you want more content to help you reclaim your career and well-being, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Your escape plan starts now.